Hey, St. Mary grade 8s, Mr. McHenry back again. This time we're going to be focusing on a lesson on subtracting integers. And again, just before we get too far, we want to focus on that a positive tile, look something like that, is equal to positive 1. And that a negative tile looks like that is equal to negative 1. And if we combine those together, we have created something that we call the zero pair. Okay, so we're going to be using that again today when we're subtracting integers. So just wanted to review that. So the first thing that we're going to be doing is we are going to be using tiles to subtract integers. All right, and the first question that we're going to work on is positive 5 subtract positive 3. So I start out with my 5 positive tiles, and I want to subtract 3 tiles. I want to subtract 3 positive tiles. So I look and yes, I have 3 positive tiles. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3. And I've subtracted those 3, and what am I left with? I'm left with 2 positive tiles. So the answer is positive 2. The next question is positive 5 subtract negative 3. And again, I start with my 5 positive tiles. 2, 3, 4, 5. And I want to subtract 3 negative tiles. And I look and I say, oh, I don't have any negative tiles to subtract. Where can I get some negative tiles to subtract? Well, that's where we go back to our zero pair and we can add some zero pairs. And how many zero pairs do we want to add? Well, we want to add 3 zero pairs. So here's 1 zero pair, 2 zero pairs, and 3 zero pairs. And now I have 3 negative tiles that I can subtract. So here's 1 negative tile, 2 negative tile, 3 negative tiles. I take those away, and what am I left with? I am left with 8 positive tiles. Next example. We have negative 5 minus positive 3. So I start with my negative 5 tiles, 5 negative tiles, and I want to take away 3 positive tiles. But I look here again and I don't have any positive tiles to take away. Where can I get some positive tiles? Oh, I can use the zero pair again. In this case, again, I'm going to add 3 zero pairs. So here is 1 zero pair, 2, 3, and I'm going to take away 3 positive tiles. So I take away these 3 positive tiles, and I am left with 8 negative tiles. And our fourth example here is negative 5 subtract negative 3. So I start with my 5 negative tiles, and I want to take away 3 negative tiles. So I have 3 negative tiles that I can take away. Yes, I do. 1, 2, 3. There's 3 negative tiles I can take away, and I am left with 2 negative tiles. So the answer is negative 5 subtract negative 3 is negative 2. All right, and that is using tiles. And similar to adding integers, some of you may have noticed something when we are subtracting integers. So we're starting with the first one, positive 5 minus positive 3. Again, we look at the signs here. I have a negative and a positive. They're different signs. So what does that mean when they're different signs? I'm going to subtract that number, which is 3, from positive 5. So I can rewrite this as positive 5 subtract, and I put the number in here, 3. So positive 5 subtract 3 is positive 2. Second example, positive 5 subtract negative 3. Well, I look at these two symbols here and I see that they are the same sign. So if they're the same sign, I'm going to add. So I'm going to add 3 to positive 5. So I'm going to rewrite this as positive 5 plus, and I just write the number in here, 3. So positive 5 plus 3 is positive 8. The third example, negative 5 subtract positive 3. I look at these again and I see that they are different signs here. I got a negative and a positive. Different. So if they're different signs, that means I'm going to subtract the number. I'm going to subtract 3 from negative 5. So I'm going to rewrite this as negative 5 subtract 3. And negative 5 subtract 3 is negative 8. And our last one was negative 5 subtract negative 3. And I look at the signs again and I see that they are the same sign. We have two negatives here. So if it's the same sign, that means I'm going to add. So if it's the same sign, you add. If it's a different sign, you subtract. So I'm going to add 3 to negative 5. And I can rewrite this as negative 5 plus 3. And negative 5 plus 3 is negative 2. And again, we want to capture what we noticed here in a chart that we're creating. So for subtracting integers, the operation sign is a negative or a subtract. You're going to subtract the integers. So if it is a negative subtraction and a positive integer, we have a negative and a positive. That means that we have different signs. And if we have different signs means that we are going to subtract the number. Okay, an example is positive 2 subtract or minus positive 5. I look at these two here and I see a negative and a positive, so they're different signs. So I go positive 2. I look at these and I see they're different, so I'm going to say, well, different signs means I subtract. So I'm going to put minus and I write the number in 5. So positive 2 minus 5 is negative 3. And again, we'll do one just with some negative numbers here. So we have negative 3 subtract positive 7. So I have negative 3. I look at these two signs here. I see that they're different, so that means I'm going to subtract. So subtract, and then I just put the number in here, 7. Negative 3 subtract 7 is equal to negative 10. All right. So we have the operation sign is subtract or a negative, and we have a negative integer. And we see that there is a negative and a negative, so that means that we have the same sign. And if we have the same sign, so we are going to add the number. Okay, and the example that we're going to do is positive 2 subtract negative 5. So I can rewrite this as positive 2, and I look at these two here and I see that they are the same signs. They're both negative. It's the same sign. I'm going to add the number. I'm going to add 5. So positive 2 plus 5 is positive 7. Another one here, negative 3 subtract negative 7. Okay, so I write down negative 3 and I see that these signs are the same, a negative and a negative. If they're the same, that means I'm going to add the number. So negative 3 plus 7 is equal to positive 4. Okay, and that's our lesson on subtracting integers. Again, if you need to use the tiles, use the tiles to help you out with that. That's good use of your tools, and you can look for the practice questions to be on the D2L site.